Okay, how's it going, people? Welcome back to another Lost Judgment video. Today we're actually going to be talking about my overall thoughts and, feelings towards the game. What do I think about the gameplay? What do I think about the story? What do I think about several things that go under those sections, like, specifics such as, soundtrack, maybe, combat, side activities, although I haven't done much of those, admittedly. But so I finished the game recently, as you guys know. Finished it on a stream, and it was a blast. I loved this game. Um, it definitely brings a lot of improvements in terms of gameplay. And when it comes to the story, I don't know, like, I still haven't decided whether or not I prefer this over the first one or the first one over this. So maybe going through the points that I have here ready is going to help us decide with that. I have several bullet points here to help me talk about like a lot of aspects about the game. So I think the first thing we're gonna start talking about is the gameplay. So the gameplay, I'm going to divide this in two. So we're gonna talk about the good and we're gonna talk about the bad. And maybe there's some aspects that I forgot, so if there's anything that you didn't see me talk about and it's, you know, uh, worth having a discussion about, just let me know about it in the comments. So, the good. We're gonna start with the combat. The combat in this game is day and night difference between this game and the first game. Um, Whereas the combat felt a bit clunky at times in the first game, even though it was still a big upgrade or a big step forward from, say, Yakuza 6's Dragon Engine combat, or maybe even Kiwami 2's Dragon Engine combat. Judgment was a step up from that, and Lost Judgment is like 10 steps ahead of that. So it's actually really amazing to see just how much it's improved upon in this game. And with the combat, we also can't forget to talk about the new style Snake. And without even talking about my opinion of it, pretty much every person I've seen talking about Snake is in love with this fighting style and the soundtrack of it as well. And I gotta say, I do agree. The idea of having a parry or counter-centered fighting style is really just incredible. Whenever you whenever you're one-on-one against someone and you just dish out all of these parries like it's nobody's business, it's actually really satisfying to do. And also the nature of Snake's X actions, which is, like disarming or um, being able to do them after parrying, also makes you feel rewarded in that aspect. Though admittedly, the weapon disarm ones, at least most of them, Snake specific ones, I didn't unlock yet. But there's just so much to love about Snake. The parries, the fear X actions, those are so good. And I know a lot of you love the Cabedon one. That one is pretty damn funny to see. And what else do we have? We have also counters with other styles. So the Tiger Drop, for example, with the Tiger style, it's not called Tiger Drop anymore. I think it's like Dragon something something. I forgot, but it's a new name, and now it also has a new animation, which is, it's like what do they call it? Something of life change, quality of life change. It's not necessary, but it's actually really nice to see it being different with Yagami rather than just a asset reuse or recycle. And there's also a new counter for the crane style, and I love this counter so much because it's basically a free juggle for you. It works the same way as Tiger Drop, but when you pull it off and you just watch your opponent just being juggled in the air, it's actually just so satisfying to see. Um, What else do we have? Tag X actions. I really like the new ones. I think there's at least... Wait. I'm not sure, but I think there's actually only one new tag move. But I could be wrong, because there's several of them. But the Kiwami drink tag X action, I really love that one because in the previous game, when your like teammates go down, you can't really do anything except wait for them to recover automatically, and then they're gonna get back into the fray, right? So being able to do something about it this time and look stylish while you're at it is really just amazing. I love that. What else is there to talk about? I guess there's small details as well, like Crane, having unique animations now, actually feeling different from the other styles. The dodge, even the stance. And also, something that I think is worth bringing attention to, even though it's a very minor detail, are the new taunts. Snake has a new taunt, I believe, on top of the previous two, if I'm not mistaken. And so does Tiger. And of course, Snake being a new style, it also has new taunts. What else? I think that's all there is for me to say about combat. I just really love how much it improved and how much better it feels to use it overall in this game. Next on the list we have dynamic intros. Now, you could say this is more related to the story maybe, because it's mostly story bosses that have this, but, it is a gameplay thing, I would say. So dynamic intros, I really love the ones that are in this game. They put so much effort into them, and you can really see it in the dynamic intros with your teammates specifically. Like the one with Akutsu, the final one in the club. That one was just so amazing to look at. And you have the one in the abandoned building where you save the students. And then, of course, the last ones in the end are also so good. Tesso's dynamic intro is just... I love it. And yeah, I feel like when it comes to the dynamic intro department, they really delivered in this game. Maybe they could have squeezed in one or two more. That would have been nice. Like maybe for the second to last Soma boss fight. Although, I guess you do get a dynamic intro like 5 minutes later, so it's not too much of a big deal, but, Okay, so we also have Skateboard, the new traveling mechanic, I guess you can say. Now, stupid me, I thought that the skateboard is pulled automatically, because when I run, I always hold X, but that actually is because of Yakuza 6. I've been playing it again recently, and in Yakuza 6 you have to hold X to sprint. So, in Lost Judgment, all you need to do is just press X once, and that's it. You're gonna be running. So when I was streaming the game, I was like, bruh, oh shit. Why does he keep taking out the skateboard? I don't want to take it. But then, only recently, actually, yesterday, I realized that it was my mistake. But yeah, I appreciate the skateboard as, having another means of getting to places faster. But with the next thing on the list, I feel like it doesn't matter too much, which is the convenience of taxi fast travel in this game. Now, I could be mistaken, but I believe they actually kicked it up a notch in this game, and you can fast travel even from interior places. Like, for example, if you're in the Genda Law office, you can still use the taxi. And I really love that, because when it comes to replaying the game, it could make things less tedious for you. So I really appreciate this. The idea of the taxi fast travel, just in general, I love that in 7 as well. They made it even better in this game. And like I said, this is why the skateboard is nice, don't get me wrong. It's just you have this taxi fast travel, and yeah, I don't know, it kind of contradicts each other, I guess. But, it's still nice to have the skateboard. Anyway, another thing, let's actually go into the menu here. The Gauntlet. This was a long time coming. Everyone wanted to see ultimate battles, climax battles, whatever you want to call it, for so long. And now we actually have it here in Lost Judgment. This is the kind of thing that gives a lot of people some replay value when it comes to Yakuza games. Like, you know, you just want to go and fight some of these bosses. Now you can do that. And given that I would say this game has pretty cool bosses, this is really nice to see. Can I just say how much I appreciate that they made Kosuke, like, significantly stronger and added him as a boss here? That's just priceless. But yeah, the Gauntlet, super good stuff. You even have an Amon fight in the main menu. How cool is that? And yeah, there's just all sorts of good things for me to say about this, because it's just good to see this again, you know? A lot of people wanted to see this for a while, and, you know, we're finally here. What else do we have? Okay, so the new detective mechanics, I guess you can say, stealth. I can appreciate the stealth in this game, but sometimes, I don't know if anyone feels the same as me, but, like, in some instances, they spot like a pixel of you and that's it, you're gone. And it's a game over. And can I just say how funny it is that when you get caught by one person, Yagami tries to struggle, and then he loses and you get punched and then that's a KO? Like, dude, you can take everyone out in the room if you wanted to, so, like, why don't you do that? Would have been nice. But I can understand, I guess, you know, they wanted to have the stealth mechanic and they wanted to go all in with it or something. But yeah, I can appreciate the stealth. The coin tossing is nice. Definitely a step up from the stealth in Yakuza 6 in that one mission. And yeah, I think that's all there is for me to say about this. And then we have the parkour system. Now, the parkour is relatively basic. It's not like, I don't know, fucking, I don't know, Spider-Man, Tony Hawk, crazy kind of shit, but it's something I'm okay with. Like, I guess I can appreciate it. It's nice because, you know, part of Yagami's job like has to do with just sticking his nose where it doesn't belong, and you know, it's understandable that it would be in this game. So it's okay. It's nothing wow, but it's okay. I can appreciate it. And then we have the soundtrack. The soundtrack of this game, like, do I even need to say? It's just one of the best, like, seriously. Soma's soundtrack, like, it is just beautiful, so different from all of the other bosses. Kawano's soundtrack, do I need to say more? The Snake style song is just beautiful as well. I also love the Crane one. The Tiger one, I'm sure, is like beautiful, but honestly, it's just I didn't pay much attention to it. There's a lot of good tracks with this game, and you know, good soundtrack always makes for a better time in any given game. So I'm glad that they delivered with this game. Now we have the bad about the gameplay. So the investigation. Now, I don't really mind the investigation aspect of the game, but I actually wouldn't even have put it in bad if not for that one, maybe a few sections, but there was one that stuck out to me. So you know how you have to go back to that, what's it called? That tatami room? The gambling one when you see Kosuke again? So you infiltrate that building, and then you enter a door, and it's dark, and Yagami's like, oh shit, better take out my investigative detective skills and find the light. And then you just have to look at the light switch and you have to turn it on. Like, could we not have done that maybe in the dialogue scene, or maybe like not even in investigation? Just let me walk up to the light and turn it on. Like, it just felt redundant sometimes and unnecessary. But you know, it is what it is. I can understand why this is a mechanic in a game like, you know, Yagami's. But whatever. Now, another thing. Why the hell did they remove the high tier healing items? This is something that even Judgment, the first one, was guilty of. I never understood this. We had Stamina and Double X, we had Stamina and Royal, we had Torriner Plus, Torriner Double Plus, What else was there? Stamina. Wait, no, I mentioned that. Toughness. Those the toughness. Infinity, I think it was called, the blue one. Why were those taken out? They could have just added those to the pharmacy. I don't imagine it would have taken a lot of effort either. Just, put them as healing items and have them being sold in that pharmacy. Oh, can I also just appreciate how the pharmacy is back in this game? I don't think it was there in the first Judgment, but anyway, just put those healing items there and let us get them. Give us something to spend our in-game money on, because, pretty much all of what I did with my in-game money was get healing items. The sushi, can you believe I would turn to sushi rather than the actual medicinal healing items like Stamina X? I mean, Stamina X is nice in this game, but I just don't understand why they removed the higher ones. But yeah, whatever. And then we have less item shortcuts. Now, please correct me if I'm wrong. I didn't do much side content. I don't know if this is something you unlock with something. But even if it is, why did they take it out? It was like base kit in the first game. As soon as you started, you have 3 shortcut buttons to use your healing items. And now you have 1. I found this to be very strange and unnecessary. I don't know if there is, something you can actually do to unlock those slots. Let me know if there is. But yeah, that was unnecessary. And finally, we have the QuickTime events. Oh boy, the QuickTime events. I don't know who thought it was a good idea to suddenly go from 1-button QuickTime events to making them chain ones without warning you, might I add? Like, at least if you tell me that, watch out, there's gonna be left, right, X, R1, something, I would have been a bit more ready for it, but no. When I was playing the game on stream and we faced off with Tesso, I believe, he has the first QuickTime event, I just see 3 buttons on the screen and I'm like, what the fuck is this? Could you at least have told me about it, And it gets a little worse later on, because I believe Tesso's second fight is the only one that actually has 2 sequences, 2 QuickTime event sequences in the same fight. And when I tried to record that for Legend, it took me, and I shit you not, like 10 re-recordings just to get the QuickTime events right because of the fucking analog stick inputs. Which I realized pretty late that you don't have to do, you don't have to use the analog stick, you can just use the D-pad. But I could have sworn when I tested it at first that the D-pad did not work. But it did later on when I recorded the final boss and the one before that. But yeah, the new QuickTime events, honestly, I don't think I like them. But yeah, I guess that's all there is to say about this. Oh, one thing I forgot to mention about the good. I like the QuickTime event animations, but I really wish there was more going on, maybe. Or even just more of them in general. Because it felt like when it comes to the QuickTime event department, the game does kind of lack them. But, it delivers at least with some really sweet dynamic intros. But, I digress. Now, when it comes to the story... Now, I know that the story is pretty controversial for a lot of reasons. It has pretty sensitive subjects, touchy subjects, like bullying, sexual harassment, like suicide. And I'm just, talking about my perspective personally. But, let me put those subject matters aside for a bit. And I want to talk about the overall... how do I put it? Like the personal or the threat aspect of the story. I felt like the story was less personal than the first game. And when it comes to me personally, I really love when stories get personal. So maybe that's why I might actually prefer the first game overall. In terms of story at least. And there's something I was planning to mention way later, but I think I'm gonna mention it now. For example, let's take Soma. So Soma, in the first fight, when you end the fight, they show that you actually didn't really win. Soma knocks you out, and then he just leaves. But in the final fight against him, Yagami just takes him out with ease, and it doesn't feel like he was... I don't want to say this because I really love Soma, but it felt like he wasn't as much of a worthy or as strong of an opponent as Kuroiwa was. Because when it comes down to it, when you fought Kuroiwa, you were trying to stop that motherfucker, right? He's a serial killer, and not only your life, but other people you love were also at stake. And I guess, you know, Soma is also a killer, but at the same time, it just felt like there was something about him that was missing. I tried time and time again to put my finger on it, but I just don't know what it is. Kuroiwa felt more of a threat, and he made for a much more climactic ending for some reason. But, you know, that aside, talking about the subjects of bullying, I actually really appreciate that the game deals with bullying. I know that it's a minus or a negative for a lot of people, but seeing Yagami just stand up to... I forgot her name. But seeing Yagami try to stand up to you know, just to like help the students out when they were bullied, that was really nice to see. And I know what you're gonna say. Yeah, dude, Yagami's beating up high school kids. How nice of him. Dude, I don't know where you live, but let me tell you this. You have no fucking idea how vicious and mental high school boys can get, okay? Coming from someone who's been in a high school, in a boys-only high school, and just in general a boys' school in my entire life, I don't even know where to begin, okay? But when a bully or when a high schooler takes out a knife and tries to fucking stab you with it, I don't care who you are. You are going to fight them. You're gonna do something about it. There's no you have to do something about it. Like, honestly, I don't understand how people even use this as like, oh yeah, he's beating up kids. Dude, did you see how they behaved? If anything, Yagami's doing those kids a favor, giving them a lesson in fucking, I don't know, discipline, because what they're doing is wrong. And that actually brings me to my next point as well, which is, I might have seen some talk about the game doesn't really conclude the aspect, or solve the aspect of bullying. But really, what are you gonna do to solve bullying? As unfortunate as it is, there's just no simple solution to bullying. It's a cycle. It's gonna keep happening. You know, sadly, unfortunately, there's just nothing we can do about it. Like, okay, what is Yagami gonna do? Tell the victim's parents? And then they're gonna come over and, I don't know, like have a talk with the bully's victims? I mean, the bully's parents? Like, sure, it might cause the bullies to stop for a few days, but they're just gonna keep doing it again. So that's why I think what Yagami did was honestly the best thing that could have been done. Like, show them that they're not as hot shit as they think they are. That's all you can do with bullies, to be honest. And just seeing that play out, seeing, you know, bullies being put into their place was really satisfying. I mean, you know, again, this is just coming from someone who's seen quite a bit of this shit, went through it as well. This was satisfying, okay? I don't care what you tell me. I would have done the same thing Yagami and Kaito did in the beginning. That's just common sense to me. Okay, now with this out of the way, let's go to the next point. So, the suicide aspect of the game, pretty heavy topic to say the least. There's a lot of moments where me and the chat were like, oof, goddamn, okay. And I don't know what else to say, to be honest. It's not a negative for me, again. I really appreciate when games deal with heavy subjects, because this kind of stuff happens in real life, and seeing it being told in stories is refreshing, because you get to see how, you know, maybe your favorite characters deal with it or react to it or try to help with it. So it wasn't a negative for me by any means. If anything, I don't know, man. This game deals with a lot of touchy subjects, you know, and sometimes there's just nothing concrete that you can say about it. But what I can tell you is that I do appreciate the fact that this game deals with those heavy subjects. Now, on a lighter note, so we have our teammates. Kaito, Sugiura, Tsukumo, Higashi, and even Tesso. I really love all of the scenes pretty much where not only the scenes where you know fight alongside them, but also scenes where you just talk to them, scenes where you I don't know, like joke around with them, whatever. But I really love the chemistry going on between Yagami and everyone else in here. Can we talk about the Sugiura and Tesso fucking cutscene where they're just standing still watching Koana and Yagami fight? Like, hey, bro, you want to do something about it? Yeah, sure. I mean, let's just wait for them. I love that. The fact that Tsukumo and Sugiura made their own agency, pretty nice as well. I think I talked about this before in the stream, but it makes for a potential change of protagonist if they're unable to continue with Yagami. Like maybe it could be, I don't know, one of the boys, Sugiura, Kaito, maybe even Higashi, we don't know, but you know, these characters are there, and as far as I know, they're not based on real people, so they have a better chance of being used again for another game. Okay, so one thing I would have loved to see as well is Tesso fighting alongside you. We didn't see that, although I'm gonna say I do really appreciate that one scene at the end where he helps you get rid of the cops to go to the warehouse. That just put a big smile on my face. I'm really happy to see that scene in general, and the bullies as well, redeeming themselves. Like, as much as I talked just now about how the bullies got what's coming to them, seeing them actually have a change of heart is really nice. It just goes to show that, okay, someone might be an asshole at one point, but they're very liable to, you know, change for the better. And I thought the game did a good job at portraying that. I don't know, I feel like, you know that one point where Yagami was like, the bystanders are the problem, and then he actually tried to do something about it, like a clever little trick of setting up the speakers. That made people speak out against the bullying, and you saw just how stupid the bullies felt. So I felt like that was actually a pretty nice and satisfying, I wouldn't say solution, but it was a nice, like, comeback. And, you know, the bullies did learn something. They changed for the better, and I really appreciate that. What else do we have? So, something random, but something I really appreciate. Koana teaming up with you several times, despite being, I suppose you can say, the main antagonist, or even the final boss. I can't remember if there was any other game in the Yakuza series that did this. Like, for example, in Yakuza 2, you fight Ryuji multiple times, and then he's the final boss. But was there ever an instance where you team up with someone that's the final boss? And even when it comes to fighting him as the final boss, it's not like... You don't really say, yeah, I'm gonna take out this piece of shit. No, it's just... I don't know, like, you know what I mean? I don't know how to describe it. But yeah, I can really appreciate that Koana isn't exactly irredeemable, I guess you can say. He just has his own reasons for doing shit, even if they're, you know, extreme or twisted, but he's not exactly out there to kill you. Next up we have cameos. I really appreciate what I've seen so far. There's 4 that I remember. I don't know if there's anything else. Like I said, I haven't done much of the side stuff, but the Champion District drunk lady from Yakuza 7, she's there. You can buy from her own shop, and that is pretty nice from what I've seen. And also the Ichiban Confections lady. You can also see her in the first um, shop or property. She also can sell you some fucking hell, can't speak, desert, so that's pretty nice. And of course, the two big ones, Kashiwagi and Survive Bar, you can go there anytime and see him. And I think at one point of the story, you have to go there anyway, and he glares at Yagami. And I thought it was really nice, compared to the first game where you see, like, Hangman, pretty cool by the way, and Onomichio. And then, of course, Zhao. We get to see Zhao, and of all the things he could have been doing, he was cooking for you and for the boys. That was just so cool. And it took me by surprise as well, because on stream, I believe we just finished fighting with Kuwana, and then it cut to black, and when it came back, all of a sudden, I just see Zhao, like, oh my god. That was so good. Kashiwagi and Zhao don't speak, but that didn't really bother me, because, I mean, you know, what would they say, really? I just appreciate that we actually see them, making it like, making you believe that this is really the same universe as Yakuza. Okay, I think last but not least in the story department. Well, no, actually, there's still a bit more. But the villains. Now, for the majority of the story, you fight just RK members. They try to make them unique, but really it's just, you know, faceless goons. But the big name ones we have are Kuwana, Akutsu, and Soma, if I'm not mistaken. I don't think there was anyone else actually. Now that I think about it. Oh yeah, I guess you can also count the detective, even though he's not a villain. You just fight him because Yagami was, you know, upset at the police corruption at the time. So you have a lot of fights going on, but the ones that you can really consider villains, I would say, like I said, Akutsu, Soma, and Kuwana. Like, Kuwana is kind of 50-50, but he did kill people, so I would say he's definitely one of the villains. And let me talk about them separately. Soma, I really loved Soma. Who didn't? His theme is amazing. The fights with him are amazing. Dynamic intros, beautiful. And that one move that he does in the final fight, Nothing Personnel Kid, can I just say how much I love that? It caught me off guard so much when I was streaming. I actually thought it was a bug at first, but no. It's a move that he has. And the fact that you also fight him in like this creepy freezer area, just cherry on top. And I guess if there's one thing that I was disappointed about with Soma, it's the fact that you take him out with relative ease in the second fight compared to the first one. In the first one, they show you that, like, yeah, you stand a chance against him, but that's all it is, a chance. And then he just proceeds to kick you in the temple, and you can't move. Would have been nice to see some more struggle between him and Yagami in the second fight, but alas, what can he do? Although now that I think about it, even Kuroiwa, I believe, didn't give Yagami that much of a difficult time. I remember thinking, way back, before Judgment even came out, when I saw the blood spot on Yagami with the Kuroiwa fight, I thought maybe Kuroiwa actually fucked him up a little bit, but no, that was from something else entirely, from that one fall. So I guess when you think about it, yeah, even Kuroiwa didn't really mess up Yagami so much. But still, he gave him a harder time, as you can see with the second phase with Kuroiwa. I kind of wish the same happened with Soma. You know, just anything to indicate that Yagami didn't take him out with ease. What else do we have? Akutsu. Now, Akutsu, compared to, you know, Kuwana and Soma, he might be a bit more generic, but honestly, I really like the dude. Small detail, but I noticed that in the main story cutscenes, they like to zoom in on his face so much, and he has that mean, lunatic fucking expression, and I love that about him. Um, and you can see that even more with the chainsaw scene. The fights with Akutsu are amazing, and the final fight with him with that dynamic intro, whew, goddamn. Um, what else is there to say? Like, I don't know what else to say about Akutsu. I just loved fighting him, loved him as a villain, and I don't know if I should say I wish there was more with him because we fought him 3 times at least, and that's something. Um, when it comes to Kuwana, I feel like I'm gonna save this for a bit later when we're gonna talk about the ending because I did want to have a discussion about the ending because the ending is, oh boy, controversial to say the least. Like, you'll find people rooting for Kuwana, and then you'll find people rooting for Yagami, and then you'll probably find people who actually don't know who the fuck to root for. They're just fighting the boss because that's what you have to do. Um, so, I think, how do I say this? So the fight with Kuwana, it was very emotionally driven. Like, Yagami tried time and time and time and time again to convince the dude, like, yeah, um, you have your own, like, brand of justice, but going around killing people is wrong. Stop it, dude. You're gonna drag more people down with you, just like you dragged down, Sawa Sensei, you know? Um, and there's always this conflict between them, right? Like, Kuwana's convinced that his justice is right. Yagami's convinced that his justice is, like, the right one. Or at least, he's just convinced that killing people is wrong. But, yeah, so the final boss felt more of a clash of ideas than an actual brawl, if that makes sense. So, I think maybe that's one reason why Kuwana's final fight didn't have as much physical impact, if you will, as Kuroiwa, because with Kuroiwa, I felt like it was straight to the point and simple. You're trying to beat the shit out of this dude because he kills people without remorse, without anything. He's just a serial killer. He kills people for human experiments, gives them away to, Shono. And it was the kind of fight that made you, I don't know, like go in without any sort of regrets or remorse. You just wanted to take the serial killer out. But with Kuwana, it's a bit more complicated. He also killed people, but his reasons are completely different. He handpicks people, if you will. And again, I'm not here trying to say, like, yeah, you should kill your bullies, but I'm just trying to view this from a perspective where you try to understand the motives, right? Because at the end of the day, when you take someone to court for killing, you're gonna have to discuss the motive, all of these things to determine how long the sentence is gonna be. So Kuwana himself isn't really innocent, right? Like, that one fucking line that he said to the bullies, like, yeah, don't overdo it, you just keep bullying, but, don't do too much, okay? That was so stupid. It was such a shitty thing to say. And he paid the price for it. The victim paid the price for it. But at the same time, again, I actually really appreciate that this was the thing that they went for. Because how often does this happen in real life? How often do teachers turn a blind eye to bullies? How often do teachers underestimate the effect of bullying? It was really refreshing to see this in the game, because it is so real. And it's just refreshing to see again. Now, of course, Kuwana realized how much he fucked up. He realized that what he said had consequences. He didn't step in as he should have. And it gave him this sense of penance, right? He wanted to repent, in a way, by going across the country, killing bullies, and giving families a sense of comfort, some peace of mind, knowing that they can, kill the person responsible for the death of their child. And At the very least, I would say, this motive is understandable. It's, again, wrong to kill people, but you can't say you don't understand where he's coming from. Can I also say one other thing that I appreciate? The fact that Koana wasn't introduced from the get-go as a righteous, bully hunter or a bully killer or whatever. He fucked up. He said to the bullies, don't overdo it. And that is, again, such a shitty thing to say. And it goes to show that people say things they regret, And life really stops for no one. You either, I don't know, try to learn from that, become a better person, move on, or I guess you just continue to be the flawed person that you are, And that's at least the point that I got from all of this Koana stuff, like the way he got fired from his job after the kid jumped from the roof and all that. I just felt it was very, very well written, and I liked it. What else do we have? I guess there's the question of who was right. Was Koana right? Was Yagami right? When it comes down to it, again, killing people is wrong. But again, Koana had an understandable motive. He tried to repent, but I don't know, this is a very tricky question. And I'm actually really curious to see what you guys have to say about this, because there's no simple answer to it. But I did find the talk about, what was it again? I think Yagami said something along the lines of, the law does have, cracks, but that doesn't mean you step in to fill those cracks by yourself, something like that. I do feel like the foil between their understanding of the law was very insightful and interesting to see play out. And I suppose that's all I have to say about Koana. I felt like Koana was such an amazing boss, but again, it wasn't the kind of final boss that you just wanted to beat the shit out of, or you just wanted to put out of commission, because at the end of the day, you're trying to save this man, right? In a way, you're trying to get him to stop killing, because he's not a bad person. Yeah, he killed people, but it's not like he killed random people. He killed people that he thought were like a threat to society, or a threat to the children of families in schools, So maybe this is the reason why I felt like Kuroiwa's fight was more explosive, impacting, I guess you can say. But that's not to say Koana's fight was bad. But yeah, Koana as a whole, again, I really love how he's not exactly a bad guy. He helps you throughout the story. But then, you have to come to this clash of ideals. And yeah, I guess that's all I have to say about it. Now, there's something that I saw a couple of people talking about, which is, why did Yagami let Koana go away despite Yagami, having a hard-on for justice? Good question. But I felt like they explained this well at the final bit. First of all, Koana said it himself, they don't have any evidence that links him back to these murders. Second of all, if Yagami does try to pursue this and take Koana to jail, public security is just gonna kill him anyway, like nothing happened, and Soma is not gonna get any of that blame, even though he also is the one who killed, Sawa. And also, from what I understood, if Koana does go to jail, Sawa's murder is going to be framed on him, so it doesn't really solve anything. So they're put in this very difficult situation where there's just nothing they can do except watch him disappear. At least that's what I understood, that's my take on it, and yeah, I thought it made sense. And then we have another interesting question for discussion. What if the boss fight orders between Soma and Koana were reversed? What if Soma was the final boss? I feel like there's so many scenarios that you could think up and imagine as to what could lead to this happening. Like maybe you have the fight of, you know, convincing Koana first, maybe somewhere else or something like that nearby. And then, like, I don't know, Soma steps in to attack someone maybe. And then that's when you would probably get that same feeling with Kuroiwa, where you have to beat the ever-living shit out of this dude and just, you know, put him away. I feel like that would have been really interesting to see, actually. Because a friend of mine said that as things are, he felt like the ending was underwhelming. And I can see why. Like, the ending ended on such a... what's the word? Lukewarm note, maybe? Like, it felt like there wasn't such an explosive ending, if that makes sense. So maybe if the order between the two was reversed, could have made for a more interesting finale. But I don't know, what do you guys think about this one? And I guess here we are at the final point. Did I like the story? Yes. I love this game's story. Honestly, even after all of this discussion, I don't know if I prefer this game or Judgment. Both of them I felt have their merits. Both of them have great things about them. And I don't know, I feel like sometimes I don't really want to compare and say, like, this is better than this. Just, I like both. I enjoy both. End of discussion. You know what I mean? But yeah, I guess that's all there is to say about this game. Now there's a lot of things that we went through, so if there's anything that you guys like share opinions with, or maybe even don't agree with, you know, just talk about them in the comments. Let me know if I missed something. For example, the item shortcuts. I don't think that's in the game. I don't think you can unlock them, but please tell me otherwise if you did see a way to unlock those, because I would very much like to have those as well. Now, before we completely go off, I would like to give a special thanks for Hannya Tier members, Axeo, seilez, X2009, Miyuron, Kaizer Redgrave, Rufus, Extreme Reaper, When Idiots Play Games Together, Lisa Medcalf, Kei Naoyuki, and there's one name that I unfortunately can't read. But thank you so much. And I hope you guys have a blast with this game if you haven't already. And I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.